Silence is strength. This truth is often overlooked in a world where noise is mistaken for presence, and sharing is confused with transparency. But if one studies the patterns of highly effective and mentally disciplined individuals, a recurring quality stands out. They speak less than they know, and they reveal far less than they intend to do. Their silence is not rooted in fear or secrecy. It is rooted in confidence, control, and the knowledge that power grows best in quiet. When a person understands the value of what they carry, their ideas, experiences, dreams, and internal victories, they stop feeling the need to broadcast every step of their journey. They recognize that not all knowledge should be spoken and not all progress should be shared. Silence becomes a tool, not a trap. It becomes the container within which strength multiplies. You see, there is a certain kind of energy in intention. When you have an idea, a goal, or a vision, it is alive and fragile in your mind. The moment you begin to speak of it to others, especially without discernment, you begin to transfer its energy outward. The power that could have been used to execute is now being spent on explanation. What should have remained fuel for action becomes mere conversation, and conversation without creation is wasted motion. There is also a psychological phenomenon at play here. When we speak of what we intend to do, our mind experiences a false sense of accomplishment. We begin to feel as though we've already achieved something, simply because we've spoken about it. This illusion can rob us of the urgency to act, and worse still, if met with doubt or ridicule from others, that premature sharing can damage our own belief in what we once held with confidence. But when you choose to stay silent, when you choose to guard your inner world, you create space for something rare in today's world, internal alignment. You give yourself permission to work without interruption, to think without distortion, to move without distraction. And in that silence, you begin to build. You begin to strengthen the muscle of self-trust. You begin to learn that your validation need not come from outside applause, but from the quiet satisfaction of staying true to your path. There is an old saying, "A lion does not need to roar to prove it is a lion." Likewise, a strong individual does not need to speak constantly to prove they are doing the work. Their results will speak. Their presence will tell the story. Their growth, though quiet in process, will become loud in impact. But it begins with the decision to let silence be their first act of strength. Silence is not inaction. It is not absence. It is a form of preparation, a time of inner focus and sharpening. Those who understand this are never in a rush to reveal what they are building. They are never eager to explain themselves to everyone who asks. They are not reactive. They are strategic. And their silence, rather than making them invisible, makes them powerful. In a society addicted to sharing, choosing not to speak is a radical act of discipline. It is an act of ownership over your energy, your vision, and your emotions. It allows you to conserve what matters, protect what is precious, and move with clarity in a noisy world. Silence, then, is not an absence of voice. It is the presence of wisdom, and those who walk with wisdom learn that strength does not always speak. Sometimes it watches, it waits, it builds, and when the time comes, it does not explain, it demonstrates. Every time you speak about your personal life unnecessarily, you give away a piece of your power. You may not see it in that moment, but over time, the habit of constantly sharing your plans, experiences, or emotions with others begins to drain you, not physically, but mentally and emotionally. Energy, like time, is limited. The more you disperse it through idle talk or unguarded sharing, the less of it remains for the work that truly matters: execution, growth, and inner clarity. When you talk about what you are going to do, what just happened in your life, or how you feel about every situation, you unconsciously pull energy away from action and redirect it toward explanation. The mind, when focused, generates clarity and strength. But when distracted by a constant need to tell others your business, it becomes diluted. You may feel temporarily relieved or even validated when someone responds to your story or affirms your decision, but that relief is fleeting. In exchange, you have leaked emotional energy that could have been used to build momentum. There's a reason the most focused individuals speak little of their inner world. It's not because they have nothing going on. It's because they know that what is sacred must be protected. They understand that their thoughts, dreams, and emotions are not for public display. Instead, they conserve their mental energy, using it to think deeply, act purposefully, and align with their goals rather than being distracted by external commentary. Not everyone you speak to has the capacity to handle what you share. And more importantly, not everyone needs to be involved in your internal process. By constantly talking about your experiences, you give others a foothold into your mind. Their opinions, doubts, questions, or even well-meaning advice can begin to cloud your thinking. What once felt clear becomes confused. What was once your own decision now feels like a communal discussion. You start to second, guess, hesitate, or feel the pressure to meet others' expectations instead of your own. Guarding your energy is a discipline that requires intention. It means resisting the urge to announce every new plan or share every emotional detail. It means learning to sit with your thoughts, to reflect on your challenges privately, and to act without always needing an audience. This doesn't mean you isolate yourself or bottle everything up. It means you choose carefully who gets access to your inner world. You become selective, not secretive. You recognize that your energy is a form of currency, and you refuse to spend it on conversations that add no real value to your progress. This approach fosters peace. When you stop telling everyone everything, you begin to hear yourself more clearly. Your mind quiets, your path sharpens. You stop feeling pulled in 100 directions because you're no longer trying to explain yourself in 100 conversations. You reserve your energy for what matters: creation, execution, and transformation. And as you grow more disciplined with your energy, you'll find something extraordinary begins to happen. You stop needing external validation. You stop seeking applause for every step. You begin to trust your own voice, your own timing, your own strength. You begin to feel more in control, not because you control everything around you, but because you've learned to control what you give away. So remember, every time you speak, you are spending energy. Ask yourself, does this conversation move me forward, or is it simply draining me? Guard your mind. Protect your emotional resources. Speak less of what you're doing and more of what you're becoming. The less you say, the more energy you save, and the more energy you save, the more powerful your actions become. Not everyone is meant to understand you. This is a truth that, when accepted, liberates you from the constant need to explain, justify, or seek approval for the path you've chosen. Many people spend a great deal of energy trying to make others understand their vision, their decisions, and their changes. They share their goals in hopes of encouragement, their struggles in hopes of sympathy, and their plans in hopes of support. But often what they receive in return is confusion, doubt, envy, or criticism, not because they're wrong, but because the people they're speaking to were never meant to carry that understanding in the first place. You must realize that understanding is a gift, not a guarantee. It comes only from those who possess the perspective, experience, or wisdom to see your vision with clarity, and even then, it is rare. Most people view your life through the lens of their own limitations. When you share your ambitions, they compare it to what they believe is possible for themselves. If it's bigger than their own thinking, they may reject it. If it's different from what they would choose, they may criticize it. And if it's something they secretly desire but fear they'll never achieve, they may envy it. This is not always malicious. Often, people speak from a place of love or concern, yet still impose their fears on your decisions. A family member may question your direction not because they doubt your strength, but because they are afraid for you. A friend may discourage a bold move because it challenges their own comfort zone. Their reactions are shaped by their worldview, not yours. And if you internalize their misunderstandings, you begin to hesitate, to doubt, and to shrink your path to fit their expectations. That is why it is so important to be careful with whom you share your inner world. Not every heart can carry your vision, not every mind can grasp your calling, and not every person is capable of supporting a journey they themselves do not understand. The most dangerous thing you can do is to continually hand your dreams to those who are not equipped to handle them. When you do this, you invite friction, confusion, and emotional resistance into a process that should be fueled by clarity and conviction. When others don't understand you, you must learn to remain unmoved. Silence is often the best response. Let your results speak where your explanations would fall short. Let your transformation show what words cannot convince. Over time, those who doubted may come to see, and those who never do were never meant to walk that part of your journey with you. This is the discipline of maturity, knowing what to share, when to share it, and with whom. It is the wisdom to recognize that your journey is personal, sacred, and unique. It is not a debate topic. It is not a group project. It is not a performance for public review. You do not need applause to move forward. You do not need agreement to be right. And you do not need understanding to obey the call that was given to you, and only you. So the next time you feel compelled to explain your moves, ask yourself why. Are you seeking clarity or comfort? Are you acting from conviction or from a desire to be understood? The truth is, those who are meant to understand you will, without excessive explanation. And those who are not meant to understand you never will, no matter how long you explain. Let that truth set you free. Let it give you the courage to walk silently, powerfully, and unshaken by the noise of misunderstanding. Your purpose is not up for approval, it is up to you to fulfill. Ideas, when they are new, are like young seedlings, fragile, delicate, and highly vulnerable to the environment around them. When you first conceive a goal, a plan, or a vision for your life, it exists in a raw and unformed state. It is not yet strong enough to face opposition, criticism, or doubt. And yet, one of the most common mistakes people make is to share their plans too early, exposing them to the cold winds of skepticism before they have been properly nurtured. Protecting your plans until they are strong enough to stand on their own is not secrecy, it is wisdom. In the early stages of creation, your idea belongs only to you. It is shaped by your belief, your imagination, and your inner commitment. It has not yet been tested by the world, nor proven in results. Speaking too soon about it opens the door for outside voices to interfere with your internal process. You may find that others don't see your vision clearly. They don't feel the fire you feel. They don't understand the purpose behind it, and so their opinions, often laced with doubt, fear, or sarcasm, can easily dampen your spirit. It's not because they intend to harm you, it's simply that they're not connected to your internal experience. Think of a builder who lays the foundation of a great structure. Before any walls are raised, before any signs of progress are visible, there is only groundwork, quiet, hidden, and essential. To invite the world in at this stage would be premature. Observers, not seeing what lies beneath the surface, might ridicule the slow pace or question the purpose of the effort. But the builder knows what is being prepared. He knows the blueprint. He knows the outcome will be worth the silence. Your plans are no different. In their early form, they need your full attention and protection. They need solitude, focus, and nurturing. Speaking too early can weaken your resolve, especially if the reactions you receive are indifferent or negative. Words carry power, and the words spoken about your dreams, both yours and others. can shape how you feel about them. An idea that once felt bold and alive can quickly begin to feel foolish or uncertain when weighed down by doubt. Furthermore, sharing your plans too early can create a false sense of accomplishment. Speaking about what you are going to do can trick the mind into believing that progress has already been made. It satisfies the ego's desire to be acknowledged, praised, or seen as ambitious, without actually having done the hard work. This illusion can rob you of the hunger that's necessary to execute. It can lull you into complacency. What you need in the early stages is not attention, it is discipline. There will come a time to speak. There will be a time to reveal what you have built, but by then the foundation will be strong, the plan will have taken form. The work will have progressed. You will no longer need approval or applause to keep going, because the strength of your vision will be self-sustaining. You will be able to stand by your results, not just your words. In the meantime, keep your plans close, let them grow in silence, speak only to those who have earned the right to hear your vision, those who will water it, not trample on it. Understand that privacy is not isolation, it is incubation. It is how great things are born. What you protect today can flourish tomorrow. What you expose too soon may never fully develop. So guard your vision like a treasure, shield your intentions like a flame. And when the time is right, the world will not need to be told. Your results will do the speaking for you. In the pursuit of progress, far too many people become entangled in a cycle of talking about their ambitions rather than taking consistent action toward them. There is a certain comfort in speaking. Words can make us feel as though we're moving forward. We declare our goals, describe our dreams, explain our strategies, and in doing so, we often mistake this verbal momentum for actual achievement. But talking is not doing. Talking does not build. Talking does not complete the task. Progress only comes through action, disciplined, focused, and often quiet action. The danger of premature talking lies in its ability to satisfy the ego. When you speak about what you plan to do, people may praise you for your ambition. You might receive admiration or encouragement. This creates a false reward. Your mind begins to experience a sense of completion, a feeling that something has already been achieved when, in fact, no real work has begun. That illusion of progress can weaken your drive, making you less hungry to act. You start to live in the idea of the goal rather than the pursuit of it. True builders understand that success is born in silence. They do not need to talk about what they're going to do because they are too busy doing it. Their time is spent in effort, in repetition, in refinement. They understand that the energy used to explain a vision is better used to bring that vision into reality. Every minute spent discussing what could be done is a minute not spent doing what must be done. And so they operate differently. They let their work speak. They let their discipline make the statement, and when results arrive, they do not need to explain how they got there. The evidence is clear. This mindset, talk less, do more, requires humility. It requires a willingness to step away from attention and into the grind. It demands that you become more focused on results than recognition. This is not glamorous work. There are no immediate rewards, no instant applause, but this is the work that leads to transformation. This is the path walked by those who build empires in silence and only speak once there is something undeniable to show for it. The habit of talking too much about your goals is often rooted in insecurity. We speak to prove something, to be seen, to feel significant, but the truly confident person does not feel the need to explain. They are content with the quiet. They understand that the early stages of any worthwhile pursuit require patience, focus, and often solitude. They do not advertise their every move because they know that real power does not announce itself. It reveals itself through results. To shift into a mindset of doing, you must practice restraint. You must learn to hold your vision internally and let your actions build it, brick by brick. Instead of seeking approval for your ideas, seek discipline in your routine. Instead of telling the world what you're going to achieve, spend that energy on taking the next small step toward it. Let your results do the talking, and your actions write the narrative. In time, people will begin to notice. They will see the transformation, the growth, the outcomes, and they will ask how you did it, and even then, you won't need to speak much. The truth will be visible in your work. You won't need to prove anything, because everything that needed proving will already exist. So stop announcing, stop declaring, stop needing to be heard before you've earned the right to be seen. Talk less, do more, because the world does not reward your potential. It rewards your performance. And performance requires silence, focus, and a relentless commitment to action. Jealousy is a silent force that often lurks behind smiles and polite conversations. It doesn't always reveal itself in obvious ways, but it can manifest subtly, in the form of backhanded compliments, passive discouragement, or veiled skepticism. When you speak too freely about your life, your progress, or your plans, you may unintentionally attract this force. Not everyone who listens to you is celebrating your growth. Some are comparing, some are competing, and some, whether they admit it or not, are hoping that you fail. This is why wisdom demands discernment. You must understand that not every listener is a supporter. Some listen only to gather information. Some take what you say and twist it behind your back. Others may not speak against you openly, but they silently harbor envy. And envy can become sabotage, not always direct, but often disguised as advice, doubt, distraction, or unnecessary concern. The very people you think are on your side may, out of their own insecurity, attempt to slow you down or steer you off course. Jealousy is not always rooted in malice. Often, it comes from a person's own sense of inadequacy. When they see you rising, they are forced to confront where they are standing still. Your progress reflects what they have not achieved. Your ambition highlights their complacency, and in response, they may try to diminish what you are doing, not because it's wrong, but because it makes them uncomfortable. This is not your burden to carry, but it is your responsibility to protect yourself from it. The moment you begin to share your success too freely or discuss your next move with anyone who will listen, you make yourself vulnerable to these unseen forces. You open the door for people to insert their energy into your process. Some will question you in a way that makes you doubt yourself. Others will feign interest just to stay one step ahead. And still others will offer unsolicited opinions designed to distract or discourage you. These subtle forms of sabotage can derail your focus before you even realize what's happened. It is far wiser to move with quiet confidence. Let people see the results, not the strategy. Let them observe your growth, not hear your every thought. There is immense power in keeping your intentions to yourself until they are too fully formed to be destroyed by outside influence. When you protect your vision from unnecessary exposure, you keep it in an environment of clarity and strength. You give it the chance to mature before it faces external opinions or opposition. Discernment is the armor that guards your progress. It means being selective about who gets access to your inner world. Not everyone deserves to know your business. Not everyone needs to be updated on your every step. The more private you are with your moves, the harder it becomes for others to manipulate, resist, or mimic them. And make no mistake, some people will try to compete with you in secret. They will not support your rise, but they will study it. They will take notes. They will attempt to replicate or outdo you, not for inspiration, but for comparison. If they do not know your path, they cannot copy it. If they cannot predict your next step, they cannot block it. This is the value of discretion. In life, your circle must be tight and your mouth must be tighter. Speak only when there is something unshakable to speak of. Share only with those who have proven themselves to be loyal, trustworthy, and genuinely supportive. Recognize that jealousy is real, and sabotage is often hidden beneath the surface of shallow friendships or insecure associations. The less they know, the safer you are, and the safer you are, the freer you are to build without interference. Protect your progress, guard your plans, and let your actions, not your announcements, reveal your greatness. Maturity is not marked by age, wealth, or status. It is revealed in how you move. As you grow in wisdom and purpose, you begin to realize that silence is not weakness, nor is it secrecy. It is strategy. There comes a point in your evolution when you no longer feel the need to announce your every move, explain your every decision, or prove your worth to those who question it. You begin to see that peace, focus, and growth flourish not in the noise of exposure, but in the stillness of discretion. Moving in silence becomes a conscious and powerful choice. The immature mind craves attention. It seeks validation at every turn, believing that recognition equates to success. It feels the urge to share plans, post progress, and constantly communicate personal updates to gain approval or applause. But the mature mind understands that real growth is internal before it is external. It is often invisible before it is ever visible. The deepest breakthroughs occur in private, away from the spotlight, away from opinions, and away from judgment. Silence allows those breakthroughs to deepen, take root, and transform into something lasting. Moving in silence means you've developed trust in yourself. You no longer need constant reassurance because you've built a foundation of confidence. You know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and where you're going. And that clarity gives you the strength to proceed without broadcasting. You're not hiding, you're simply refusing to waste energy on unnecessary explanations. You've learned that your progress is personal, not performative. You've learned that when you move with maturity, your results will do all the speaking necessary. This quiet approach to life also protects your peace. When you stop sharing every challenge, every idea, and every milestone, you protect yourself from unnecessary noise. You're no longer swayed by every opinion or disturbed by every criticism. You're no longer thrown off course by someone else's misunderstanding of your purpose. You are grounded in your own truth, and you carry it with dignity. In silence, you are able to hear your own thoughts clearly, refine your direction, and maintain emotional balance. There is another element to moving in silence. It disarms resistance. When people don't know what you're building, they can't interfere. When they don't know your next step, they can't block it. When they don't know what's important to you, they can't manipulate it. This doesn't mean you live in fear, it means you live with discernment. You share only with those who have earned the right to hear your plans, those who add clarity, not confusion. You're no longer impulsive with your words, you are intentional. And perhaps most importantly, when you move in silence, you begin to enjoy the process more. You're not working for attention, you're working for purpose. You're not acting to impress, you're acting to become. Your fulfillment comes from your internal alignment, not from external recognition. You grow stronger, sharper, and more focused because you're not distracted by applause or criticism. You become more in tune with your mission and less concerned with the timeline of others. This is the essence of maturity, choosing privacy over performance, peace over popularity, progress over noise. You understand that not everything requires an audience. Not every step needs to be shared. Not every win needs to be posted. You grow quietly but powerfully. You evolve without needing permission. And when the time is right, the world will see what you've built. Not because you told them, but because it will be too great to ignore. So move in silence, protect your energy, prioritize your peace. Let your life be the loudest thing about you, not your voice. The mature understand that true power is not in how loudly you speak, but in how intentionally you act.